Just going to expound real fast on all these awesome stories of people going, I didn't know him, and then, I met him and became friends ever since, man. Kevin was a very attractive person, and I'm not just talking physically, although I am also talking physically. He was a very attractive man. But he was attractive in the way that people would just gravitate towards him. And he was also the self-proclaimed third most addictive substance in the world. Which I tend to agree with that as well. Because, the people gravitated towards them, and then once they were there, they were hooked. They were hooked. And they never went, and hence all these people here and others that want to be here today that can't even make it. So Kevin was a very attractive person. Anybody want to come up and say something about Kevin? Anybody want a peanut?
Hi, everyone. I'm really bad at talking in front of people, so I'm probably going to get really shaky, so just don't mind it. My name's Kateri, and I actually have many names given me by Kevin. And one of my favorites was Pterodactyl, which was so great, and then Capri Sun and Shadow Cat, and my favorite, the one that gets me the most is Little Sis. But he said it in an accent, so it was better than the way I say it. But I met him when I was 14 years old, and this man knew how to dance better than anybody else. I met him on a very late, I don't know what a 14-year-old is doing at midnight, but at Starbucks somehow, of course. But I ended up at Starbucks, and I'm just chilling with some friends, and I meet this guy named Kevin, and he teaches me how to do the hat dance. And if you've ever seen Kevin do the hat dance, it's probably the most bizarre thing you could ever see. But that just started our friendship right there, because then we ended up doing the electric slide with no music, none whatsoever. And this just continued our friendship all the way up until now. I've danced in the rain with him I don't know how many times. He's seen me growing up all the way, through my crazy adolescence, trying to figure out stuff and who to be. My brother left when I was young for the Army, and so I needed somebody to step in and be my brothers. And Zach and Kevin took that job like nobody else, even said that they would shake a guy for change if they ever messed with me.
Came this close one time. 14 stories.
And I just want everybody to know, I can just, every time I try to start getting sad or start pouting, I can just remember him just, can I use your pouty lip first? I need your lip. You gotta pout, though. He would never, ever let you pout.
Would do that.
So I just want you guys to think every time you get really sad, just think of him just touching your lip and doing that little fun noise. But Kevin, I love you so much, and I can't wait to see you later on. You're my best friend.
Hello, hello. I'm Michael McCullough, a.k.a. Colossus, from Russia. I just wanted to say a few things about Kevin. A lot of things you guys already know about him. That he was a really great friend, and he could always make you smile. I mean, I don't think I've ever saw a non-smile on his face. And this whole time, ever since we went and saw him up in the hospital, I wanted to say something about him, but I couldn't put it into words. I couldn't think of the moment that I first met him. My mind was just so out there, I couldn't recall. It was just kind of like he was always there. I was on my path with my group of friends I've had for a while, and then he just one day popped in the picture as if he was always there. And he really knew how to inspire everybody from all different walks of life. But one thing as I was trying to think of something to say, just out of respect for him and the life he led, was the impact that he had on my daughter. I have a 6-year-old daughter, which is pretty fun, being a single parent with a 6-year-old daughter. But he had an impact on her, which affected me a lot. In our prayers 2 nights ago, my daughter was praying, and she goes, please be with my dad because of his friend being gone. And when we were done praying, I was like, I've been trying to keep some of it away from her, trying to help what her mind, where she's at, what she can handle. But I just had to ask him, like, why did you, what made you say that? And she goes, well, Kevin was a great guy. There's a little 6-year-old girl. She goes, he was funny and had a really long beard. And it was funny to think, what she said next was, she goes, well, Dad, we would go up to the mall to get some Starbucks. And he always seemed to make you happy. And he always was really nice to me. And I think he made a really great cup of coffee. And that he did. But it just the kids, they don't have any filters, really. They shout whatever's on their mind. They are as honest can be when it comes to them just wanting to say something about somebody. Man, they let people know some things you don't want them to let people know. But everything he's ever said about Kevin was, he's a really nice guy with a really long beard. And so, yeah, I love you, man, and I hope to see you soon. Well, a little bit longer than soon. That was awkward, actually. But with that, and if we're back here next week, I'm sorry, and that's going to be really creepy. So I hope that doesn't happen. All right. Thanks for letting me speak.
Thanks, Mike. That was awesome. Just to expound really quickly on Kevin's beard, Steve and Heath and Chad and I were talking on the phone last night, and Steve's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure he tried to compare his beard to Moses when he got up there, and I think that's pretty dead accurate. I bet he found Moses right away and was like, hey, man, let's...
Hi, my name is Andrew Shank, and I got to know Kevin 10 years ago at OSU OKC. We both studied public service. It was a 2-year course. It was actually pretty new at the time, and I first got to know him there. And everything I've heard sounds to me like that's what Kevin was a public servant. And what a job he did. It was more, I guess, of a political push in public service, but it goes every which dimension, and it was a real treat and honor to get to know him there. He was also the president of the Baptist Student Union for maybe a year at OSU OKC. He was the chapter leader, and he did a phenomenal job there too. Just had a great heart. And I ran into him about a year and a half ago. I cleaned carpets. I saw him at a T-Mobile at Penn Square Mall. He was with Ben Stagner. He's like, hey, guess what, man? I'm doing stand-up comedy now. I was like, really? Really? That's great. So do I. That's I couldn't believe. I mean, I can believe it, but I don't know. Didn't really see him as a comedian. He wasn't cynical enough, Had too big of a heart, It wasn't depressed enough. It's true. Comedians are a depressing bunch, Don't let them fool you. But I got to do a couple shows with him at what used to be Bora Bora and then became Paseo Underground, and it was a real honor. It really was. And I had a chance to have one conversation with him maybe 5 or 6 months ago, because I'm a believer also, and it's not the most conducive environment for believers either. And he came and approached it with a real witness-like mentality, and I have nothing but the most respect for that. He's going to be greatly missed, but I have a feeling we will honor him for a good while longer. So thank you for everything. God bless you all.
Hi, my name's Roger Godwin. I've known Kevin, the Brodericks, my wife, has known them all of Kevin's life, actually. Grew up at Heritage together, went to college, roomed with that guy, and that guy over there, and there's a few others, I'm sure. And you don't get to know somebody really well until they're your roommate. And Kevin was a blast to have at the house all the time. Went to college together, and he never met a stranger. And I see the variety of people here that knew Kevin, and that's such a testimony to who Kevin was. Praying for your family. God bless.
Hello, I'm Nathan Godwin, Roger's older brother. I met Kevin in a Sunday school class, 10th grade. About 2004, 6, we all were roommates. Anybody from 16th Street here? Come on, raise your hands. One. It's the house we were living on. Yeah, I remember the parties and all that. Yeah, the best time I've had with a bunch of people. Of course, I had probably hidden in my room half the time. Guys were loud. But yeah, I remember sitting on the porch talking to him a couple times, and he was definitely a guy you like to know, a treasured friend. So God bless all who knew him. And that's all I have to say.
Yeah, Heath and I jousted in that pool, collided a lot. That's probably why we have so much brain damage. Yes, cool, more people. That's true.
Hi, my name's Hannah, and I've known the Brodericks since I was in 4th grade. And some of my favorite memories have been when we spent Thanksgivings together. And I remember this one time, we were playing hide and seek in our backyard, and Stephanie and I were hiding, and Kevin scared the crap out of us. It was a fun night. I didn't get to know Kevin during his growing up years, which is unfortunate, but I know a lot of people, actually, small world, that Kevin knows that are my friends from other situations, and it's just amazing to see how far his love has reached, like in depths and places that I would never have imagined. And for those of you that are discouraged and questioning, and those who don't believe that there is a God and that he is celebrating with him, just know that that's all Kevin wants for you. That's all he ever wanted. So.
Thank you, Micah. I just met this lovely young lady. She's awesome.
I spoke the other night at McSalty's when we had a get-together for our friends, but I just wouldn't feel right not speaking again. The day I met Kevin, he'd given me free coffee because I was wearing a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle shirt. And I'm freakishly close with my mother, and I called her immediately and was like, there's this really weird guy, and he's bald, and he has this big beard. And later that week, I called my mom back, and I was like, so that guy I told you about, he invited me to this bar, and I'm going to go because he's not threatening at all. Kevin was placed in my life at one of the worst times. And in hindsight, one of the best times. I was at one of the lowest points in my life, and God put him there to bring me out of it. Because of him, I'm so different just in a year's time. And I have some incredible friends. I'm sitting on the row that looks like criminals. They were talking about that earlier. was at the hospital with us the day that we all went to pray over him. And he kept talking about how Kevin's not done, Kevin's not done. And that gave me a good peace, and I just thought, okay, he's going to get better, he's going to come out of this. And when Josh called me or let me know that he had passed away, I was so angry. But Josh and I had spoke later, and even though he's not here with us physically, that man was right. He's not done. God is doing a work in all of our friends, the ones that believe and the ones that don't. And that's all really Kevin would have wanted from this. My biggest hope from this is that I can change someone's life like he changed mine.
Hey. People that I could be a true nerd with. One of my first, I lived in Yukon, and it was a foreign kid. No one liked me. So I met Kevin, and we became like instant Star Wars buddies. It was just constant, like, dude, I'm building this lightsaber, and I was like, that's epic. And like everyone's been saying, if you look just amongst each other, we're all so different and also the same. And Kevin, he didn't care about any of that. Like, he loved us for who we are. He was there for us when we needed him, and he still will be. So if you think he's done, he's gonna be mad at me for saying this, but you're an idiot. Because that man, I mean, look at us right now. Like, there's people in here that I haven't seen in like 5 to 6 years, and brought us all back together. And he's gonna keep doing that, whether you like it or not. Thank you.
I'm guilty of just a misdemeanor. I'm not a criminal. I don't know how long I've known Kevin my entire life. Probably met him when I was, how old? A little baby, 6 months old. Beards and tattoos were not even a thought at that point. And when I lost touch with them, just through paths going different directions, they weren't a thought then either. God's been preparing me this whole week to talk. And I don't feel, initially I didn't feel like I had the right to talk because I'd lost touch with Kevin years and years ago, probably 93, if not sooner. But for those of you that don't know Kevin, I think personally one of the hardest things to do in life is be consistent. I tried running a marathon once. It's a long time to be running. I haven't been consistent my whole life, really. But looking back and meeting the Kevin that I lost touch with through y'all's testimonies, I can see he was amazing at being consistent through the biggest thing in his life. And I applaud both Jim and Lynn and his sister for supporting him with that. And Ian, what an amazing testimony to be consistent with your walk with Jesus and to be such an example. So I started thinking about what was Kevin Broderick to me as a kid. He was the kid that shared his birthday toys before he had a chance to play with them. I never once in my life saw him be exclusive. And looking out on you guys, I can see that he was very inclusive, loving to everybody. And it's just amazing to do that your entire life. Being a comedian, I can probably guess that he wasn't worried about first impressions, but he's a professional at lasting impressions, and I think that is amazing. So I just want to thank everyone for coming and letting me meet Kevin that I lost touch with.
My name is Aaron. Everybody knows me as Newman. Don't ask, please. Thank you. Especially this front row. Thank you very much. I've known Kevin for quite a while. It really, let's see, house parties, Halloween parties. It really wasn't a party until Kevin actually showed up. Of course, he'd asked to play, what would we call that? The mariachi music first. But then he'd want to go ahead and dance and do all his favorite stuff. And I don't know, it's just one of those things where you don't really, you don't notice what's gone until it's gone. There'll always be a spot for him. But one of the really things I know, and this is the weirdest thing that I remember about Kevin, I always will. Biggest heart in the world, loves everyone, but I don't know if you guys know this. When it comes to wrestling, now I'm talking WWE wrestling, he's a big fan, but he always cheered for the bad guy. I don't know why. So that tells you how much love he has for everybody. He will even choose the bad guy just because they're the underdog. So I just want to talk about Kevin, how much I love him.
As Kevin would say, hey. My name is Tyler Shipe. Some people call me Sherpa. He kind of liked that a lot. Or Sheepe, Shippy, Shipepe, doesn't matter. To say that just speaks to how interesting he is. I know everybody has a good first story or first impression. Everybody does. Mine, in particular, was through Kateri, actually. I was up at Starbucks. I was 18. And Kateri walks in, and she's like, hey, it's my birthday. We're having a party at my place. And so I'm like, hey, I'm 18 and sitting here by myself. Let's go. So we go over there, and Kevin shows up. And I have no idea who Kevin is. I just know he's this big, lovable dude. He's hugging on everybody. He comes up to me, says hi, whatever. That wasn't really the first impression I took away, though, because later that night, there was probably intoxication going on, more than likely. I'm swimming in the pool. I remember jumping. It's at an apartment complex, and I jump off the waterfall thing at this apartment complex, which you're not supposed to do, just so you know. And he's in there, half naked, and I'm pretty sure he was a nudist at heart. And he comes up to me, starts hugging all over me, and I end up just being smothered in his bosom. It was pretty interesting, but it was cool. It was very full of love. I enjoyed it. And then several times after that, every party we go to, like Zach and Scott's old apartment, every time we go there, he would always initiate the pants-off dance-off, which, like I said, I'm pretty sure he was a nudist at heart. Yeah, only guys. But, so we always ended up in our boxers dancing around the house. It was awesome. To say all that, every time we would go to Starbucks, we had a whole Starbucks crew, he was very open, very loving. He loved everybody. Didn't matter who you were. Didn't matter if he didn't know you. You'd be sitting at the table across the patio and be like, hey, come over, join us. We're talking about parties, probably. I don't know. And he was always very full of love, and he was definitely just interesting. And to say that, that's one thing. When I met him, I was in a very dark place in my life. I was extremely depressed and had many issues, but I always knew every time I saw him, I would have a smile, and I would know that he loved me and he loved everybody else around me. And that's one thing that attests to his character and to his love in God, because I really think that's how he held on to all of us, was because God was very much a part of his life, and he made sure that he spread God's love along with the rest of us. So I know he's a great man to all of us here, and I know he's a great man of God, and we're going to miss him, and we love him.